Welcome back to Ratchet Rice Rockets. My name's Gilbert. We're going to be doing a transmission, transmission filter and gasket swap on a 2006 Saturn Vue with the 2.2 liter VTEC 2.2 liter engine, the Ecotec. It's a pretty common engine. Pontiac, Saturn, Cavaliers. What else got them? The the Chevy Caprice Classic. Also got them. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm be working with. This is a simple setup of the engine I was talking about. It's a 2.2 Ecotec. It's a pretty good engine, inline 4. It's on a Saturn Vue. Now I'm going to be swapping it with just the basic pan and filter, oil pan gasket and filter, which I know factory they don't come with a gasket, but I'm kind of on the fence if I'm going to use it. I might use some gasket maker, just because I know it'll be glued on instead of just with the rubber piece. I don't know. Let's see what it looks like. Has a little O-ring. It goes on the I guess filter, kind of like a shim. And we're gonna be under here. This is the oil pan gasket in this transmission. Make sure to jack it up off the ground. I mean, if it was a truck, you could just drive, slide underneath. Jack stands and keep a jack on it, just for extra assurance, safety. And yeah, it has these. I believe it's 12, 10 millimeter. I'll double check. Can't really see it. Yeah, 10 millimeter. Oh, it's actually an 8. Scratch that. It's actually, zoom in, damn it. 5/16. 5/16. Fits nice and snug. A little bit of play, but I think it'll be okay. And I'm gonna zip through them with the impact because it's a lot of them. And when you do take this part off, it will start to leak because there's no drain plug. So you will need a drain pan, which I have one over there behind that broken pot and in the grass. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. I had you on a time lapse, but as soon as I popped off the first bolt, it started leaking out. So that's the first to me ever that happening. So we'll just wait till it finishes, trickles down to almost a complete stop. But that just comes to show you every car is different. I don't want to make a mess, so I put down these pieces of carpet, but I didn't put any back there where the jack stands are on, just in case it spills a little, which always does. You can't prevent it too much, but when it stops flowing, I'll update you on removing the rest of the bolts on a hyperlapse. Okay, I got the panel undone. Next, you want to do is get some, like I said, some soap, some hand soap or dishwashing soap or whatever you got, and give this a good clean. There's the old gasket. Now the gasket was not leaking. was not leaking, so, but it's time for fluid swap because it wasn't even, it was like a brownish. And this is your magnet. What you want to do with that is get a rag and take all the what looks like dirt or sludge, but that's actually real fine particles of metal from wear and tear on the engine. I mean, transmission. I'm so used to saying engine. And give that a good clean wipe down. And then next you'd want to clean it up, which I got denatured alcohol, but dishwashing liquid, anything that has a something that breaks down oil. What am I going to do? Just do it right here. Denatured alcohol works pretty good because, well, it's alcohol. Let's fill the whole pan up if you want. Be generous with it. The oil was real. It was real brown. Usually it's supposed to be red. Yeah, but it was like a brownish. I don't think it's ever been done.
You gotta think, one time there was three trucks.
One time.
Then for 206, only got 146 miles right now. 146,000.
Yeah, it still has a residue, so I'm gonna have to go and hit it with some dishwashing liquid.
Oh, it's never been done.
I'll update y'all when after I do that. So what you're left with is this, nice and clean. Make sure you remove this magnet. Give it a nice clean. It goes in these little indicators. The backside, not so. I mean, it's the backside. I usually clean it anyways. Now you gotta pull the filter off, which is still hooked up. Which there might still be some fluid in there. So I'm gonna put this back underneath. Now it just pops off. And my jack stand just moved. That's not very assuring, but that's why I have that other jack on there. Now it pops in here with just kind of free flowing. Clips in with a little nozzle. I mean, not nozzle, a tube. Just kind of give it a wiggle, a shake, or a little bit of bump and grind, and you should be able to pop it out. There it is. Whatever fluid was left in it. As you can see, that stuff is not even, oh, it's like a brown color. Definitely was time for a flush. Damn, got transmission fluid in my mouth. Now all this stuff here, it's got like, I guess, dirt or finely grinded metal. I want to give that a nice wipe. You can see the color difference. Give everything a wipe in here. Ensure that you don't have any foreign contaminants. I mean, I say foreign, but you know what I mean, dirt, metal shavings. But this engine was having a little shifting problem, which the owner told me that she wanted it to get a filter change because she is like second owner of this car. She's unaware of the previous history of transmission jobs, or you know. So if this doesn't help, next step would be probably get a diagnosis through a transmission shop and see if maybe it's a sensor, or I don't know. I mean, hopefully this fixes it, because, well, nobody wants to pay $3,000 or $4,000 on especially on a vehicle that's not worth it. And nowadays, you work on an engine or transmission, you end up spending more than what the vehicle's actually worth on a mechanic. So I'm doing this job pro bono. So hopefully this fixes it. No, it looks pretty clean. I'm gonna try to keep my videos hopefully under 20 minutes, but sometimes they have a lot of dialogue that needs to be said, or you know, I guess if you're really interested, or you're planning on doing a job like this on your own, you want as much input as you need, not just a quick time lapse on the whole entire process and you don't even know what happened because there's nobody talking or telling you what to do, or they're just doing it. So you're gonna have transmission fluid continue to leak in areas that like orifices, or what you said, little I guess drainage passages. So I mean, you're not gonna get everything, but before you do put the gasket back on there, you want to make sure that you put a little bit of like alcohol, like denatured alcohol or whatever, just to get the residue of oil off if you plan on using sealant, which this was just a gasket, so I think I'm just gonna go with the gasket. I mean, it didn't have any problems leaking, it just has a little bit of shift problems, which hopefully this fixes it. So next I'm gonna put the filter back on. I mean the new filter. Remember, if you need this as a shim, not a shim, where's the, see if this one has it. So this one doesn't have it, but it's probably inside the transmission hole, which that one, it was on there pretty good. I don't think it was leaking, so I think I'm gonna reuse that one. And you can see the difference in color compared to the new one. So let's pop this bad boy on there, see if it stays, and if it does, we'll run with it. We'll just shove it back in the hole, and if it's tight like Tiger, we're gonna run with it. Yeah, it just kind of hangs off of there. Don't hit it too hard, but this will be held by the pan because it's not very deep, so it's gonna hold it. So it's not gonna have this much slack on it. It's gonna be actually tucked up against these lines right here. So cool. I'm gonna set you up on a tripod and I'm gonna start putting the bolts back. Before you put the pan back on, I want to kind of lay it out to where you need it. And then if you want to ensure that it's not going to move anywhere, you can get a little bit of gasket sealant and kind of glue it to the pan. Which, if this starts giving me a hard time, I might do that. But, or you can get the it's like a gasket spray, or I think it's like a copper attack. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I know you spray it and then it kind of glues it to where you need it, and then you put it. It holds it just enough to where it doesn't move. Now I don't know the torque specs on these. I'm gonna go ahead and say off the hip and say about 8, 10, maybe 15 pounds a piece, but I'm just gonna give it a good. I'm just gonna go with it. But I'm gonna hit it with this impact with the attachment for the 3/8 drive. I'm gonna hit it, but I'm not gonna tighten it down all the way. I'm gonna finish torquing it down with my. I'm gonna hand tighten it with the impact, and then I'll finish it with the ratchet. And don't forget to give your nuts, your bolts, 5/16 tip, good wipe down. The filter's been changed and the gasket's been replaced. We're gonna put it back on the ground, which jack stands are out. Now I'm gonna show you where to fill it up from, which this type of vehicle does not have a, where is it at? It's in between here. Can't really show you because there's a hose that runs through it, but let me see if I can give you a good, where's it at? You see this little, where my finger's on? It's like a cap. I'm gonna remove it for you and show you. cap that looks like this. Okay, and that's where you're gonna fill it from with fluid, which you can go out and get a funnel and get a long one, or me, I use this type of deal. This goes, the one that comes out, the shorter hose goes into the, I mean this is hand cleaner, but you put it inside there, and then that part, this part, the long one, you shove it into the hole, kind of like a snow cone syrup dispenser, and you just, it's like a transfer pump, fluid transfer pump, there you go. But this one, it's like a syrup for snow cone. I don't have the fluid, but I'm gonna go run out and get it, and I'll update you on how many it takes and what type of fluid, if you want to do this on your own. Alright, I'll check back in with y'all. Alright, so what I just found out when I went to go get the oil, and by the way, you're going to need this type of oil, Dextron 6. Dextron 6, yeah. Dextron 6. If it's if you're just doing a fluid swap, it's going to take about 6.9. Or if you're doing a complete rebuild or dialysis, what I call it, when you swap out all the old stuff. This is just a service, so 6.9. And this model does not have a dipstick, so you won't know when you're full. But if you're familiar with Hondas, they have a fill screw at the bottom, I mean a drain and a fill upper. On the upper one, you just put that same pump that I have, put the fluid till it starts squirting back, and you're full. Well, this transmission is a I'll look it up here, I can't remember, it's a 4T45E or something. It's equipped with this same style screw that, focus, my lens dirty, focus, damn it. Well, they call it a check screw, which is on the passenger side. It's right here. My lens is dirty. Yeah, it's right there. You pull it out. It's the it's an 11mm socket. Well, you take this guy out, and then you put fluid in the filler hole, and until this guy starts spewing out fluid, you're done. Simple as that, buddy. I just found that out myself. I was just gonna put the recommended, but yeah, it's on the passenger side, a filter, you know, the L, the big part right above it. Voila, save this, don't lose it. I usually put it on top of my jack. All right, I'm gonna begin the fluid transfer. Actually, let me get one of these. Remember, you're gonna have to take this cap off. The car is jacked up a little bit, but I don't think it'll affect the amount of fluid. I guess I can lower it. I'll just keep an eye on it. But I took out about, almost, like you said, 7 quarts. So I'm gonna actually lower it. I'm gonna lower it so it could be easier for me to get up in the car. Which I'll probably just leave it there. Leave it at that level, the lowest the jack stands go. Yeah, I went to one auto parts store and the guys were scratching their head. I don't know anything. I mean, I've never done this to a Saturn. I mean, this motor is universal to a lot of cars. So is the transmission, I found out. It's used in a lot of different cars. So I see the hole, so I can see it here. You probably have a hard time seeing it, but I just, you know, drop it in there. I mean, the longer hose you get, it's better. I mean, you can get these things at hardware stores. I mean, the rubber hoses. I got lucky and I found this on a job I was on. They were just throwing it away as the AC guys. They were using it for a drain, the condensate drain. All right, I'm gonna put you on a quick pause, and then but you won't notice the pause. But all right, I'm gonna get this thing open and stab it in, and I'll check in with y'all. Hope y'all can hear me okay. I got an AC condenser unit right here on the side of me. Oh, almost did a boo-boo. It's dirty. Make sure to clean your hose, my friend. Clean it. You should see the, let me see if you can see. Got the pump up there. I do. There you go. Start sucking it through. That's a good color red right there, my friend. I'll tell you what. Might take a while. So I'll put y'all probably on a hyperlapse or speed up the video while I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the hyperlapse, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna let y'all know how many quarts it took. Okay, the check valve is spilling out, so I'm guessing we're good. I'm gonna plug this. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug it. I'm gonna turn it on, run it through all the gears to make sure there's trans fluid in them. Now I'm gonna turn it on, run it, get the fluid in all the passages, orifice, gears, and then I'm gonna go ahead and double check it and make sure it's got the appropriate amount of fluid. All right, I'll check in with y'all in a little bit. So at the end of the day, the transmission ended up taking only 4.5 quarts, which is, I read on in a book from a certain auto parts store that isn't paying me money to say their name. That's right, pay me money, I'll say your name. It said 4.5 quarts, and if you're doing a complete flush, as in like drying it out, but this is just considered a service, whatever. It's only going to take about 4.5, which I bought 7 because a certain auto parts store in their computer said 7, but at that check screw, only about 4.5. Only 4.5 went in there, which in those 5, half of one was. It's kind of filled with a fluid of the old stuff, which I'm gonna go recycle that. Don't dump those in your grass, storm drain. They'll take it for free. Just gotta take it down to the auto parts store. Yeah, I mean, something I didn't know is that the check screw check screw or check valve, and that tells you when to stop. I didn't know this transmission had it. Which, if you guys have a transmission that doesn't have a dipstick, more than likely it's going to have that check valve, which is on the passenger side vehicle, right above the transmission pan. Take that out, fill it up, starts pouring out, you're full. And make sure to do it on a level floor. Yeah, I guess so. Or not unless you want to be full gangster, just put 5 quarts in there and just walk away. You know, it's 4.5. But yeah, that's Saturn Vue 2.2 liter engine. Easy as that. I mean, all you gotta do is take your time to do it. A lot of us out there don't have the time. That's why you'd rather just pay somebody. But in my case, the person who owns this vehicle is actually a family member of mine, so that's why I'm doing pro bono. But yeah, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. And if this video helped you out in any way, smash that like button. We greatly appreciate that. Comment any questions on this. If I didn't point something out, I mean, comment, let me know. I usually check the comments. I'll hit you up. It's a matter of hours, minutes. Subscribe, buddies. I mean, you want to see more how-tos like this? I mean, I'm learning, you're learning. Hey, cool story. Let's do it. All right, man. I'm Gilbert with Ratchet Rice Rockets. Thanks for hanging with me. See you on the next one.